Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this new Facebook Live series, where we will discuss a different immigration topic every month, and we'll answer the most frequently asked questions about the services that we provide. My name is Sofia Carreño, and I'm the Communications Manager for CUNY Citizenship Now. Today, we are going to be talking about citizenship. We decided to start our series with this topic given that the fee to apply for citizenship will go up on October 2nd, and that the fee waivers will also go away on the same date. Some other immigration fees will also go up on that date, and we'll tell you more about this during our presentation. With us today are Marisara Quinones and Shawn Rahman. Marisara is an immigration attorney with a law degree from Inter-American University of Puerto Rico, and she is admitted to practice law in New York, DC, and Puerto Rico. Up until the pandemic started, Marisara was one of many immigration attorneys who provide services to the community from the offices of New York City Council members. She, like the rest of our staff, is now providing services remotely. Thanks for joining us, Marisara. How are you?
Thank you, Sophia. I'm really good. Thank you for the introduction.
Shawn Rahman is also an immigration attorney with a law degree from St. John's University School of Law. Shawn is our managing attorney for training and capacity building, and like Marisara, he is part of our City Council Services Initiative. He is also an adjunct professor at Baruch College. Thanks for joining us, Shawn.
Oh, thank you, Sophia. Hello to you. Hello to Marisara. Hello to all the citizens out there. Happy Citizenship Day, particularly to those who naturalized.
Yes, today is Citizenship Day, which is a celebration of everyone who has become a citizen by birth or naturalization or derivation. So yes, happy Citizenship Day to all of those who are citizens. And we are celebrating by talking about citizenship. So Marisara, to get us started, why don't we, I know that there are many people who wait many years to apply for citizenship and many other benefits. But before we get into that, let me actually start by asking you, Marisara, we help people apply for many immigration benefits, such as citizenship and green card applications, work authorizations. Could you tell us a little bit about how CUNY Citizenship Now helps people with their applications remotely? I know that many people are curious to know about that.
Okay, thank you, Sophia. So we have been working nonstop since the pandemic started in March, and right now we're working remotely. And like you said, we're providing consultations, assistance with applications, and we're answering questions. What does remotely means? Well, it means that we're going to accommodate our services to you to the best of your abilities and your necessities. It means that if you can work with email, we will work with you through email. We will call you on the phone. If you can work and you want to work with a platform like Zoom, or you can some of our participants can work better with WhatsApp instead of regular text messages to send some documents or some evidence. We're going to accommodate ourselves to your needs and necessities. It also means that if you need help because you don't have a computer and you need help to fill out the forms and to print them out and to mail them, we're going to also help you. So we have been doing that since March. It has been great. And Sophia, we have been working nonstop. That's pretty much the answer.
Thank you, Marisara. And how can people get in touch with us if they have questions, Shawn?
Oh, okay. There's a number of ways that our clients get in touch with us. We get a lot of messages through text message, email, through our Facebook page, but the easiest way to get an appointment with us or to get in touch with us is to call our main number. That is 646-664-9400. Just want to mention here also that we are taking in this session in both English and in Spanish questions, and you can ask those questions in the comments box, and we'll have a Q&A session and hopefully get to your question at the end of it. Okay.
Thank you, Shawn, for reminding us of that. So now let us talk about citizenship. That's why we are here today. Marisara, I see that many people wait for many years, permanent residents, they may wait for many years to apply for citizenship. Why should people apply for citizenship? What are the benefits of becoming a US citizen?
You know, Sophia, I've seen that too. As recent as yesterday, I had a participant that has been a green card holder since 1975, and he decided that it was the time, right, that he wanted to file for naturalization, and he waited 45 years. And some people do it because they didn't know, they needed an orientation, or they prefer to take the exam in their own language, native language. But it's important, like you asked, to know the benefits, and the benefits are that you get to vote, that you get to participate from a jury, that you get to apply for a U.S. passport, and you don't have to worry about staying outside the country for more than 6 months, which is usually the limit. And you also get to file for your family members, and you get to, if they are under 18, they can ask for a certificate. You can get them, your children, a certificate of citizenship. So there are multiple benefits to that. And like you said, it's important for them to know that they should do it as soon as they can, right? As soon as possible.
I'm sorry, I just want to add to that answer. I really, in talking to a lot of our clients and participants, and we're using that term interchangeably, client and participant, talking to a lot of them as they become citizens, it seems that the two greatest reasons are, one, to avoid something happening, to avoid being deported, right? So it really, citizenship is the gold standard of course, immigration statuses, and it's the one that finally, completely and permanently allows you to stay in the United States without fear of being deported. Number two, there's a lot of jobs, federal jobs and important civics jobs. For example, if you're in New York, you cannot become a police officer or a firefighter or apply for a lot of other federal and state municipal jobs without becoming a citizen. So many benefits, as Marisara said. Those two are probably the most I hear on the minds of people.
Right, the stability, right? The stability that between the difference between removal defenses and and not being separated from your family. That's I think it's important too. Thank you, Shawn.
Yes, so I have heard too from participants, and also the ability to travel. I think that those two are really high motivators for people, and to petition for your family members as well. Now that we know why we should apply for citizenship, what are the requirements that someone must meet to apply for citizenship, Shawn?
Okay, so to apply for citizenship, of course, you have to have a green card first, right? You have to be a lawful permanent resident of this country and be a green card holder, usually for 5 years. You can apply a few months early, but typically it is 5 years. You are allowed a 2-year break on that so you can apply 2 years early if you are a green card holder and married and living with a US citizen spouse for those 3 years. You get to apply a little bit early, okay? So again, first requirement, must have a green card. Second, you have to be at least 18 years old to apply, okay? 18, have a green card. Next one is you have to have maintained your continuous residence in the United States. That simply means that you've maintained your primary residence in the United States and not somewhere else, okay? And that is ever since you got your green card, okay? Again, so long as you maintain your primary residence here, most people do not have a problem with this. There's also a physical presence requirement that requires you to spend more than half your time living here in the United States. At some point, when you got your green card, you essentially promised the United States, that you wanted to make the US your home, and they gave you the green card for that. It's simple, spend more time here than not here, right? And usually, most people will pass this requirement so long as they have not taken any trips outside the United States for more than 6 months, okay? Another important criteria is we expect, or USCIS expects everyone to have, or to become a citizen, who becomes a citizen, to have good moral character. And the application, if you've ever looked through the application, the N400 citizenship application, it asks a number of questions designed to determine whether somebody is of good moral character. Okay? One of the next requirement is a basic ability to speak, read, and write basic English. There is an English examination administered to most people who are looking to naturalize. However, there is an exemption available to some applicants who meet certain age and residency requirements, some certain age and, residency milestones. These are listed in the application, and we can, attorney or a immigration services provider can show you, can tell you what these requirements are to get the exemption to the English language requirement. In addition, everyone has to pass a test on US history and government. This is known as the Civics Exam. This is a test of 10 questions, usually taken out of 100 questions that you will be given on the date of your citizenship interview. So long as you answer 6 of these correct, you will have passed this portion of the interview. And finally, you have to be willing to take the oath of allegiance. You have to be willing from the time you are applying all the way through the time you are actually administered the oath of allegiance as the final step right before you become a naturalized citizen. So those are the requirements.
Thanks, Shawn. And I think that one that I think makes many people nervous is the civics knowledge and English, of course. Mm-hmm. And there are many organizations that help you prepare for the citizenship test. We want to mention a couple of those resources that people can use to prepare. First, we have USCIS, which is basically immigration. They have a page that is called my.uscis.gov/find-a-class. You can use that tool to find classes near you. Once again, that is my.uscis.gov/find-a-class. We are going to put that link in the comments area. There is also the New York Historical Society that, in partnership with CUNY Citizenship Now, offers citizenship classes via video conference. And these classes are free for all green card holders. The next sessions that they are gonna have start on September 23rd and September 26th. To register, you can, and to learn more, you can go to www.nyhistory.org and look for the Citizenship Project. All these resources we are placing in the comments area, so you can take a look and find the exact direct link to the resources. There is also the Jacob A. Reese Neighborhood Settlement that provides free online citizenship classes. For more information about those classes, you can call 718-784-7447, extension 124. You can leave them a message with your name and your phone number, and they will take care of helping you. Now, Marisara, to show that people meet those requirements that Shawn just mentioned, in the USCIS form N400, which is the form that you use to apply for citizenship, asks you certain questions. what are some of those questions that our viewers should know about?
Right. So yes, that's important because in the first time that we talk to them on the phone, the first appointment that they get to us, we provide them an orientation on how to get prepared with these questions and what information they have to gather to be able to complete this process and this application. So this application pretty much is divided between biographical data, biographical questions. USCIS wants to know where you have lived for the past 5 years. They want to know where you have studied or your jobs during the past 5 years. They want to know your trips, where you have traveled, for how long you have traveled, how many days you have traveled outside the U.S. And then there's also questions about your prior marriages. So some people need to take a little bit of time. Maybe I usually tell them, drink a coffee, take your time, get your coffee, make a list. Don't worry, because sometimes it's hard for them to forget everything, but they gather everything about previous divorces, divorce decrees, marriages, children. There's questions about children's where when they were born and where do they live now. And then the other part is also security questions. There's a lot of questions regarding if you had a ticket or if you were a member of a group, if you, for example, won an asylum and you won an asylum based on religious persecution or political persecution. There's a section there to write down what group you used to belong to. They want to know everything related to your background, and mostly the last couple of pages, there's a big amount of that application that is dedicated to security questions, Sophia. So that's pretty much USCIS wants to know and like Shawn said, they want to know about your good moral character before you become a US citizen.
And I know that sometimes for the question about the previous marriages, people have to call their ex-husband and ex-wives to find out information that may be told. But Shawn, we have a questionnaire that we send the people that the applicants that we are going to help to apply for citizenship to give them an idea before their appointment of what these questions are, right?
Yeah, and yes, we do. I think most lawyers, legal service providers will provide a screening sheet or an information sheet that will be relatively easy to fill out for most of their clients or participants. So we recommend that you come to your first meeting with your attorney or your provider with as much of that information as possible. It is a lot of information, as Marisara mentioned. The application is 22 pages, and most of it is the biographical data. And so as much as you can bring with you, it could really, really make your application process so much easier.
Now, in addition to the N400 form, people have to send also some other documents to support the form, right? What are those documents?
Who's that for me?
Shawn, I'm sorry, Shawn. That's
no, okay, all right, that's fine. Yes, so you bring all those documents in, and we or your attorney will help you prepare the citizenship application. With the application, these are the documents that need to be sent in. One, I mentioned earlier that you have to be a green card holder. So one of the requirements of this application is for you to include copies of a proof that you're a green card holder, and that's usually the front and back of your green card, right? So that's one document that needs to be attached to the application. Second is if you used any additional pages to explain your answers or to continue your answers or even to support your answers from the application, make sure you include those additional pages. If you are applying for citizenship 2 years early, as I mentioned earlier, because you're married to a US citizen, then you should include proof that you are married and living together, like your marriage certificate, and along with perhaps your tax returns if you're filing jointly, maybe a copy of your lease or home deed that has both your names on it, or even your joint account, bank account statements, okay? And finally, and this is very, very important, if you've had any interactions with the police that led to any kind of charge, arrest, or fine, or conviction of any kind, then you have to go and get and include with your application the final disposition paperwork on that. And this includes the MTA or transit bus and subway fines for not paying your fare. A big, almost one full page of the N400 application is dedicated to criminal background. And while they do a criminal background check, the application requires you to self-report all of your incidents. And if you do not include these certificates of disposition for any arrest, they're probably going to find it. They're probably going to find it in the background check. And if you don't include it, you're probably delaying your application. They may even ask why you left it out. So these are the important documents. We can certainly help you with that. Your attorneys can help you with that. That makes the completed application. I hope that answers your question, Sophia.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Now, Marisara, we now know what documents we need to send. What is the process once you completed the form? What do you do next? And how long does it take to finalize the process until you become a US citizen?
So basically, we explain our participants when they meet with us and through the phone, like I mentioned earlier, whatever the platform that they choose. We help them through the process. We walk them through the process. We tell them what to expect. And at the end, we help them compile all those documents that Shawn mentioned with the application and help them mail it if necessary, or show them how they can mail it. Once the application and the entire package is mailed, the person, we tell them that they're going to receive a receipt from USCIS acknowledging that they have accepted their application. And they are also supposed to receive another one for an appointment for their biometrics. Important for them to understand that biometrics are the way to get their fingerprints and to do a background check on them, right? So that's really important that they do not miss that biometrics appointment. I'm sorry. Then if the fee waiver was accepted, they're supposed to get a receipt acknowledging also that the fee waiver was accepted. And then once they get the appointment, which right now, answering your question, Sophia, it was usually, because we're in New York, it was taking up to a year. But because of the pandemic, because of COVID and the backlog, currently processing times for naturalization could be up to a year and a half or 2 years in this area. So it really depends on where do you live, what state you are calling us from. And then when you go to the interview, once you get that interview, they're going to ask you questions like Shawn mentioned earlier. They're going to ask you about the civics or the history exam. They're going to also ask you questions to see if you speak. They're going to test the language, if you speak English and if you're able to write it. And they're going to review the good moral character part. So I usually let them know that it's not only the history exam, but they have to also get prepared in all those other areas as well, good moral character and language. Then once you pass the test, you are supposed to receive an invitation for the ceremony, for the oath, to get sworn in, and the certificate of naturalization. So it's a nice process. It's a great process. It's going to take a little bit longer now because of COVID, but it's totally worth it. It's totally good to go through the process.
Indeed it is, and hopefully many people will be celebrating Citizenship Day next year as US citizens.
I just
Or
want to add to that.
the year after, since we said it's taking longer than 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
No, so I just want to add to that one thing. Yes, it is taking much longer now. At the end of the Obama administration, it was about 8 to 10 months, and make what you will of that. But we see some of the timelines going up to as much as 3 years, which is crazy. But with COVID and everything else going on in this political climate, not surprising entirely. But what this time allows people to do, and I just don't want to miss this point, is it does allow those that may have put off applying because of their English proficiency to now they have the time to go out and do these free classes, these great resources, these English ESL classes, and take the time to get proficient. Also, just want to recommend to everybody applying for citizenship that they really get a very good understanding of what those good moral character questions are. If you need help to understand those questions in your own language, seek that out. Seek out help. It's critical that you understand what those questions are. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of interviews ask questions that specifically go over all the questions. And if they feel like you're not really understanding the question, even if it doesn't apply to you, or even if the answer is a no for you, if you didn't understand that question, you may not pass the exam. So really, we want to, while we don't like the fact that it is taking so long to get to the interview, all applicants should be using that time to brush up on their language and also brush up on their understanding of those questions. Very, very critical.
Yeah, I do think that it's important that both of you have emphasized that the applicant needs to familiarize themselves with the question, with the questions in the N400 form and understand what each of those questions means. Now, while we give some time for our viewers to submit their questions, and I'm seeing that we have many questions here.
Oh, questions? Yay!
Yay!
So we're excited about that. Why don't you tell us, Shawn? I started this presentation by saying that the fees are going up on October 2nd. Yes. And the fee waivers for some immigration applications are also going away.
Yep.
So, but we know that many organizations are offering help precisely because there is this deadline upcoming. What can you tell us about that, about where people can get help, and about the the fee increases and the fee waivers going away?
Okay, let me start out with the fees, because it really is, the most important thing right now. Yes, a number of immigration application fees are going up as of October 2nd, including for the N400, the citizenship application, which is going up from $725 for most applicants to $1,170. Now, this is a really big increase, right? So you definitely want to get your completed citizenship application into the post office before that deadline, which means essentially your application has to be postmarked and in the post office and mailed by October 1st to qualify for the current $725 fee. Again, that is going up to $1,170 on October 2nd. Now, unfortunately, as you mentioned, Sophia, the fee waivers are going away as well. So currently, if you and those are all fee waivers, including the ones that are based on the means tested benefits and the income, and also the final category, the temporary hardship. So all fee waivers are going away for most people, and until October 1st, you are eligible for a fee waiver of a waiver of the $725 fee if you receive a means tested public benefit, right? Like Medicaid, SNAP food stamps, supplemental security income. If you receive cash or housing assistance, if you get any of these, you can still get your fees waived totally. Again, that's before the October 1st mailing deadline, okay? If you do not receive one of these benefits, but can demonstrate that your income is less than 150% of the federal poverty guideline amount, you can also get your fee waived until October 1. There's also right now a reduced fee of $405 for those who make between 150 and 200% of the poverty guideline. That too is going away. So essentially effective 10/1 there, unless there's some miracle and some court comes and puts a stop to this, the fee waivers are essentially being eliminated for almost everybody. There are some very, very rare exceptions, but to most applicants, those exceptions will not apply. So critical that if you are looking to get your fee waived because of your means tested benefits or your income or your financial hardship, that you get your application in by 10/1. Now, I know that time is coming, and we've all been, I know Citizenship Now and all of our sister and partner organizations have been, booked solid and working like crazy to get as many, to help as many green card holders get in their citizenship applications on time. But here's where you can go ahead and get some help right now in this last week and a half. Now that citizenship or naturalization workshops are virtual, there are a number of places. One that we highly recommend is to go to the website www.yaeshora, that's YAESHORA.info. Again, www.yaeshora.info. That's it. Again, time is of the essence for you to take benefit of that fee waiver and the current fee of $725.
Thank you, Shawn. And you mentioned how hard many organizations are working to help people before the deadline. So I want to give a shout out to all our staff members, all our paralegals and attorneys who have been working really hard to help as many people as possible to apply for citizenship before the deadline. So a shout out to all of them. Now let's get to the questions. Let's see what we have here. Okay. This person says, I am born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago and have been studying in the US since 2015, age 15. I have a brother who is a US citizen, but I wanted to know what options do I have to apply for citizenship?
You want to start? Yes.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Yes.
Well, first of all, you have to get a green card, right? So if your brother, you have to find a way to get a green card, and if your brother is a citizen, he can apply for you to come to the United States, but you have to be, of a certain age, and it takes a long time for that to happen.
Around 10 to 13 years, right? For the I-130 to be approved.
The question, it doesn't state in the question whether the person is, has a green card, but that is the first step. And hopefully in a future version of, a future episode like this, we will talk about how to get your green card. Okay.
Yes. There is another question asking about how long does it, I guess the question I think is about the requirement. How long do you have to be a permanent resident to apply for citizenship? And you guys talk about a little bit about the 5 and the 3 year old 3 year rule. I think that's what the person is referring to in this question.
So you want me to, yeah.
Yeah,
so it's usually 5 years, and you can start applying at 4 years and 9 months when you had the green card for 4 years and 9 months. And then there's another rule that says if you're married to a US citizen, and if you file with that application, like Shawn mentioned before, good faith evidence, which is what he referred to as taxes in common, or the electricity bill, or the lease, documents that show that the two of you are married in good faith, yes, you can apply when you have been a green card holder for 3 years, if you demonstrate the good faith marriage part. Definitely, that's another way to apply, form to apply.
Thanks, Marisara. Shawn, there is a question here. It's a two-part question. So the person says, under President Trump's new direction, can someone who filed for unemployment apply for citizenship? And the second part of the question is, what if I am a student that is receiving Medicaid? Can I still file? I think there's a lot of confusion about that. So it's important that we talk about that.
All right, let me take the first one. Yes, you can file for citizenship if you're unemployed. There is, under the law, nothing to bar you from becoming a citizen. The confusion of that comes from whether, there's some misinformation around that says if you are a green card holder or if you don't have a green card, whether you can file or not file unemployment, or whether it could hurt you somehow. Once there is no wealth test and there is no test at all to apply for citizenship. You can be unemployed, and many of our clients are. So long as you can pay that fee or get your fee waived, you can become a citizen. The second part of can you repeat the second part of the question?
The second person is if the person is receiving Medicaid, can they apply?
Yes. So once you, yes, and we mentioned, not only can you apply when you have Medicaid, in the next week and a half, you can get your fee waived. So it's actually a benefit to you that you get Medicaid. So yes, you can apply for Medicaid. There is no test. There is nothing that prevents you from taking advantage of these benefits once you become a green card holder and if you are seeking citizenship. Okay.
And there's a related question that it has to do with receiving benefits in the past.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
To those two questions? Yes, very important. And Shawn and we have discussed this previously. When we are asking those good moral character questions, that background, and the unemployment part, we also make sure that everything it's okay in terms of the unemployment that the person is receiving the benefits, because if there's a disagreement or a debt pending, or the person failed to inform that they started working and they kept receiving the unemployment, that might count for the good moral character part. They might raise that up. You should make sure that the record is clean in terms of everything that is related to unemployment. But adding to what Shawn said, unemployment and Medicaid, if the person is referring to public charge here, public charge is not a bar here. It's not related to citizenship. That's another, it's for the people that want to either adjust status or which is to obtain a green card or to travel and come to the United States. Public charge applies to them, not to the naturalization process. I wanted to add those two details there.
No, that's really important. I just want to say that, yes, take all the benefits you want to. It will not bar you from becoming a citizen so long as you told the truth and didn't get those benefits if you were not, if you were ineligible.
And so long as the person doesn't have, we also let them know that if you have plans to file for someone else in the future, they might take that into consideration. So not for the naturalization, but be aware that if you still want to file for a family member in the future, for that family member that is applying to get a green card, they might consider that.
Okay, very good. There is a question also about the online application. The person says, I want to create an application online with USCIS for my mother who does not speak English. And I want to help her complete the application online on her behalf. Can I do that?
Shawn, do you want to answer that one?
You go ahead.
Yes, totally. The person can help the participant his mother in this case. And then at the very end, there's a space, there's an area for the person that prepared the application. Make sure that you fill that out for your mother. So definitely you can help her. Good. There's something to add there, Shawn?
No, no, that's absolutely right. There is a prepare section, and many people need help with preparing the application. Totally fine.
That was a simple one.
That was an easy. That was a soft.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
So can I have the next easy question?
All right. We have another one. Do you have any news regarding citizenship interviews? According to my USCIS account, the date for the completed naturalization process was supposed to be August, then September, and now I don't even know.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I think COVID threw everything for a loop, and everything backed up, right? Interviews backed up, oath ceremonies backed up, everything. And, so they're getting through that backlog. And we have heard, of people waiting months and months for the citizenship interview. In some cases, people are now receiving phone calls as spots open up.
I had a participant like that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no, keep
just be patient. We understand that USCIS went through the backlog, or was getting through the backlog of the oaths first, and then is getting to all of the delayed interviews, but they are happening slowly, and you should hear from them very, very shortly, hopefully. Okay.
Yes, that's right. I got an email for a participant that I was trying for him to get that since December last year. It was a very particular case. Do not be scared or anything, but it was something out of, blue, like a Thursday. They emailed me, hey, we're asking your participant to come on Tuesday. If, by any chance you could get in contact with this person. And I think, like Shawn said, it's not like it used to be. I used to go to that office, and it's a big office, and it was full of people all day. Now I think they are going not one by one, but in a softer mind, because of COVID, there cannot be too many people at once in one waiting area.
Right.
So I think that is part of why the person is still like waiting for that day to arrive, but it's going to arrive. It's going to arrive.
Yeah, I just want to say also that the best time to call USCIS is when they open up. It's at 8 o'clock on weekly. You won't have,
Thank you, Shawn.
I know it's very, very early, but you'll have a very relatively small wait. This is their number, USCIS, 1-800-375-5283. Call them as early as possible so you don't have to wait, and ask them and call them every week and complain about your interview not being scheduled. You've been waiting. They'll get to you. Okay.
That's a good tip. Thank you, Shawn. And Marisara, of course. Now, does the $725 fee have to be paid along with the application, or is it paid later?
Shawn, do you want to?
Yeah.
That's an easy one.
Okay,
Either one of you jump.
Yes, it does have to be
Good
paid
jump.
with the
Both at the same
application.
time.
If you submit the application without the fee or a fee waiver application, they will just send it back to you.
They're going to reject it.
And they're going to reject it. So especially if you want to get in for this deadline on October 1st, make sure that either the fee waiver or the actual payment, and you can actually pay by credit card too. There's a credit card form that you can print out from the USCIS website. One of these three things has to accompany the citizenship application, or they will kick it back and reject it. Okay.
Okay. There is this person asks, how do you apply to get a fee waiver when applying for your citizenship? Marisara.
How do you apply for a fee waiver when applying for citizenship? Yes. So keep in mind that's going to be only until October 1st, because they are proposing to eliminate that that fee waiver. So one of the fee waivers is the means tested benefit fee waiver. Once you show us, any of the attorneys or paralegals, evidence of the letter, if you are receiving Medicaid or if you're receiving food stamps or SSI or cash assistance, any of those means tested benefits, we show you how to get the letter. Usually we do that for you, but if you already have it and you show it to us, we can use the letter and the information on the letter to prepare you the fee waiver. We do it for you. It's a simple application that goes, like Shawn said, on top, because that's what they usually want to see first.
Mhm.
A USCIS officer, when they receive your packet, they want to see if there's a check or if there's a fee waiver. So answering the question, Sophia, it's another much more thin and simple application. We need to see the evidence. We help you to gather and to get that evidence, usually when there's much a bigger window of time, but we do that for you, and we fill it out for you. That's how you that's one of them. There's another one if Shawn wants to explain it a little bit more. That's one of the fee waivers.
Do you want to add anything, Shawn, or we're
Well, no, I mean, the benefit, I mean, it's the same application. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yes, the same application.
Same application, but
Yeah,
another.
yeah, but there's another way. I mentioned that earlier, that not only from the benefits, but an income-based, if your income is below certain thresholds,
Right.
then you can also apply for citizenship. And of course, if there is still one more, there is still temporary hardship. If you don't meet the other eligibility requirements, but want to show, can show USCIS that you are going through some kind of temporary hardship, maybe you lost your job or you got stuck
Unemployment,
with
right?
unemployment, yes, significant medical bills, and you can't afford it. Essentially, the idea or theory of public policy behind that was you shouldn't, you should still be able to apply for citizenship if you are going through a temporary financial hardship. But again, that's all ending on August 1st, but I'm sorry, October 1st, but it's the same application.
Part of this question we already answered, which is regarding the timeline from when you send the application until you become when you swear in. So the question, I think that the interesting part of this question is, what happens if you want to travel, or if you need to travel outside of the country? How do you, how does that affect? I guess the question is, when could you travel, considering that timeline?
Considering the timeline, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, either. Okay, so I'm gonna start, and Shawn, you fill out if I leave anything out. So yes, the short answer is yes, you can travel, but that's why we also ask you for the amount of trips that you had during the past 5 years, because we want to make sure that you don't reach the limit, which is usually 913, right? 900 days outside the country. So we usually go through those days. We do the math for you and we help you out. And if you are not even near the limit, and you have maintained and demonstrated that presence in the country, then the short answer is yes, you can travel. Keep evidence, because the USCIS officer might ask you in the date, since a year or more it's gonna pass. And of course, take in consideration COVID, right? It's not so easy to travel right now, but keep evidence, because they might ask you, they're gonna ask you if you want to amend something or change something in the application. And of course, you should mention that other than the trips that you did in the past 5 years, when you file the application, then you have this other 1 or 2 trips that you did while you were waiting for that appointment.
I want to add to that. Yes, of course you can travel. It's nobody can prevent you from traveling as a green card holder, but make sure the trip is less than 6 months, right? As with all your trips as a green card holder. Second, if you think you're going to be traveling for more than several months, talk to your attorney or whoever helped you with the citizenship application, because you definitely don't want to miss correspondence and estimated dates. As Marisara mentioned earlier, after you submit the citizenship application, you're called in about a month's time to give your fingerprints and you take your photos in the biometrics appointment. And after that, it's usually not again until you have your interview. You want to make sure, we very often have our clients or participants ask us, can they travel after the biometrics? And the answer is yes. But you definitely want to come back before, you want to come back for the interview, of course. So if you think you're going to be out for a while, just make sure that you are paying attention to your correspondence. Somebody is home getting and looking at the email from USCIS, or you're paying attention to your online account if you've set up one, so you don't miss that interview date. Very, very critical. Final point is this, and it gets a little bit complicated. Let me see if I could, Marisara started mentioning it. If the date of your application, you have come close to staying out, close to the limit of 912 days over 5 years. I mentioned something earlier about making sure you have been in this country for more than half the time you've been of the last 5 years. And 912 days is half the time, half of 5 years. If you do 365 days times 5 and divided by 2, that's 912.5, right? So you can't be outside more than 912 days. If you, over the last 5 years. So if you're close to that and you go on a trip, and you go on a trip that puts you over that, by the time you get to your interview, you're going to have a hard time. So if you are nervous about this, please contact an attorney, contact a paralegal, or whoever helped you with this application before you go on your trip. And it's a great conversation to have, especially if you think you're going to be on a trip that's going to last more than a month or two. Okay.
Regarding being able to obtain your correspondence, I think that's an advantage or a benefit of applying online, that wherever you are, you're going to be able to get your correspondence because you're going to come to your email. It's from the questions here, I think that people want to know more about how does that work, the online application. Either one of you could tell us a little bit about how that works.
You can start by creating an account online in USCIS, which they usually encourage people to do that because it's easier because of the amount of paper and applications they received. When we work with the hard copy or paper copy of the N400s, we usually make sure that the person also fills out a G1145, which is a simple sheet, a simple form, that it only contains your name, email, and phone number, so that you authorize them to send you notifications through email. So those biometrics that Shawn was mentioning, if you fill out a G1145, they can email you the appointment, and they can email you the progress of the case. But Sophia, they definitely encourage people to start by creating an online account and then filling out the form online. That's something that USCIS encourages a lot.
I just want to add to that. That's absolutely right. It is, especially if you're going to travel, you want to make sure that you have that online correspondence thing going. If you are not applying online, we encourage you to set up an online account and then apply on paper. And so long, and there's a spot on the paper application that asks for the USCIS online account number. So long you don't have to apply online if you don't want to. It can be a little bit challenging for some people with the sharing of documents and scanning. But if you're applying for paper, go ahead and set up the account online with your information. Get the account number, put it on the paper application. And then you will be able to access your correspondence from anywhere in the world.
Okay. Sophia, one question. Do we have any Spanish speakers or questions that came in Spanish? No?
From what I am receiving here, it doesn't look
okay.
like, but I have gotten any one of them.
Okay.
But actually, we are actually running out of time. So I just wanted to go with one last question to finish because it's almost 4 now.
Oh my God.
Yes,
we're supposed to go half an hour, but you know what? Keep them coming. Okay, I understand we have to end. We could sit here for hours if you want.
I can tell you guys are enjoying it. I'm enjoying it too. All right, so it says, how much heads up do you get for this USCIS schedule appointments? Is it a week, a day, a month?
Great question.
Shawn, I'll let you
right now.
So yeah, you can answer that one.
it used to be you used to get several weeks, you maybe about a month. But lately with all the backup in COVID, they may call you and tell you to come in a few days, or next week, or I think even one, can you come tomorrow? Be prepared.
I had a Thursday, Tuesday one.
Yeah, Thursday, Tuesday. So hopefully enough time, but you could reschedule it. But if you've been waiting all this time and something as important as this application, I know it's difficult to, you want to be able to schedule and anticipate, but you might get 2 or 3 days notice in this current, COVID conditions. Yeah. But hopefully it's a few weeks, and of course, if you're working, you can arrange something. But so important to go to that interview when it's scheduled, because if you postpone it, and who knows if you might go to the back of the line, and you don't want to, you want to take advantage of your application when your interview date when you can get it now.
I'm gonna have one more question since you guys are so eager to answer more questions. But I have a lot of questions that are things that we already have covered. So I'm going to go with this one that I think we have not covered yet.
Okay.
So it says, on the website, I suppose it's the USCIS website. It says that you can apply multiple times if you fail the first time. Can you talk about it more? Do you recommend that I do this process with a lawyer, or is it okay to apply by myself?
Okay.
So I'm gonna start, and then you can fill or add a little bit more, Shawn. Definitely, we encourage you to be always guided through this process. And we have a team of attorneys and great hardworking paralegals as well, because of those kind of questions. Yes, if, for example, you fail the exam because of the language the first time, usually in the same attempt and the same filing, they're going to give you a second chance, a second appointment, to try again for a second time. But yes, definitely you can go back and maybe brush up a little bit, like Shawn said, take classes. If it's the English part examination, you can practice a little bit more, and you can file again. There's no limit to that. That's totally true.
Yeah, so the important thing here is you get 2 shots at the exam.
Right,
if it's
right there.
2 shots at the civics exam, for one filing. So if you fail the civics exam twice and there's no other problems, you have to, if you fail because of the civics exam, you get a second shot at it within 90 days. They'll schedule you for another one. So the question about how many times you can apply, I think Marisara answered it very nicely. There's no limit to how many times you can apply. I know people who are, on their 6th or 7th application right now. So, I think that brings another question about, it's critical that if you failed because of something not related to the exam,
right? Yes.
It's critical that you do speak to an immigration, to an attorney, immigration law provider, to help you understand what it is. It could be, something that's easily overcome, but
did you get registered to vote, for example?
Yeah, right? Yeah. So yeah, it could be something that could be overcome with an explanation, or perhaps you didn't have the right evidence at the time, and they denied you.
The tickets, dispositions.
Yeah, it could be serious reasons, like you made a mistake and you actually registered to vote and voted. Those are going to need help by an attorney. Or it could be something that perhaps you failed because you failed a good moral character. Perhaps you got arrested and you have to wait a certain amount of time. Remember, we talk about the last 5 years for good moral character, and so those 5 years, if you fail sometimes because you don't pass a good moral character, waiting a little while could perhaps, put a little bit more distance between you and the reason why you failed. You just apply again. Again, critical to understand the reasons for your failure or being denied naturalization. If it was something that wasn't related to the exam. Okay.
Agree.
And this is the last question. This is not a specific, this is not really a naturalization question. All the citizenship questions that we have answered so far and what we have been talking about today has been naturalization. But this question is not. So this question says, should a person who obtained a US passport through her citizen parent apply for a certificate of naturalization? I should say, it is not a certificate. It's not called a
certificate of citizenship.
Of citizenship.
Yes, yes, this is a good one. And recently I had a situation and I've been working with some cases. The US passport is provided to you by the Department of State, right? And it's a different agency. I have seen cases where this passport, whether the person is a minor and it expires in 5 years, or it's an adult and it expires in 10 years. I have seen cases that to renew the passport, they ask you for the certificate of naturalization. Citizenship, I'm sorry, naturalization is the N400 process. Certificate of citizenship is the N600 process. So yes, it's a good thing that you should do it. I mean, if you get to the point that you want to renew that passport and they ask you for that, it's good to have it. Also, if you're gonna file for a family member, they might ask you, USCIS might challenge, might try, right? Not necessarily. If you had all the documentation to prove that your mother or your USC mother or USC father, parent, was indeed your legal guardian, your custodian, or the minor's custodian, the one that obtained the passport. So if they do challenge that, it's always good to have that certificate of citizenship. So there's a couple of scenarios where you might, in fact, need it in the future.
Just to clarify, USCIS, US citizen parent.
Yeah.
USCIS, yes, US citizen.
All right. Thank you very much to both of you for being here today answering all these questions.
Thank you, Sophia.
Can we do a 2-hour session next time? This was
Thank you,
so much
Shawn.
fun. Such a pleasure to be on screen with the both of you.
Can we add the coffee next time and maybe cookies?
I just want to say it's an honor to work with you both. It is an honor to work with all of our staff. I miss all you guys, and even though we talk to each other almost every day, can't wait for COVID to be over so we can see each other and work with our clients face to face. Thank you for this opportunity, Sophia. Okay.
Thank you, Sophia. You did a great job as a host.
Thank you. And to everyone who watched us today, thank you for your questions. We are available to answer your questions. And you don't forget, you can apply even if the deadline passes. We are still here. We will still be here to help you with your applications, and not only with citizenship, but green card applications and other applications. I just want to say this video will remain in Facebook. So for those of you who came in late, and many of the questions, some of the questions we had to skip because of time. Many of them were answered earlier in this Facebook Live. So I recommend that you watch it. It's going to stay there. And we thank you all for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.